stop. Okay, there we go. So that's what it is for the protest process. And I recommend that you do these two things, is go look at your house. And as I said, oh, I thought that was my phone. I had it on Do Not Disturb. If you're here because you showed up, that's the one bonus that you get. If you want, I'll give you my phone number after the meeting. And I can run comps on your house, but it has to be in a lesser condition than all of the house in the neighborhoods. That's really what it amounts to. Okay, so if you got things that are old and outdated. Now, so I recommend that you look at that. If you want to do a protest, get it in right away. For sure, file your exemptions, because you get a $40,000 homestead exemption right off the bat. Here's the good news, and I just think this is so fabulous, except for, I don't know what it is about politics, why everyone has to fight with one another. I really don't. I mean, we are the same party here in Texas, and they're still fighting. But let me tell you what's going on. And what I've listed on there is our two representatives' names. So what I recommend is that you call them and put in your voice, because at the end of the day, you as the constituent calling and voicing your needs and your desires is what motivates them. The reason I know that is because my mother, for most of her working career, worked for senator and assemblyman for the state of California, if you can imagine that. And but their offices, our representative offices, they have one in Austin and they have one here locally. They have people that answer the phone and listen to you, believe it or not. If you ever needed something that had to do with a governmental agency, I can assure you that these offices are very helpful, which I've had to deal with the Texas Real Estate Commission and a lot of other things that are state agencies here, and they're always extremely helpful. But they're here to listen to you about what you want. And even though the governor of the state of Texas has said his top priority for this legislative session, and if you don't know this already, our sessions meet every 2 years, so they have to cram a lot in when they're there, and they're about 2 weeks from, they all want to go home. They're about 2 weeks from finalizing, and they're at an impasse right now. But the governor's mandate to the legislature is I have two top priorities, and that is property tax reform, massive, and school vouchers. So those are the two things that are sort of getting people or our legislators not to agree and be in consensus at this point. But let me tell you what they're talking about, and this should happen probably before the end of this session. And I have it on good authority from all of these entities that if they don't get this property tax reform concluded by the end of this session, which is in 2 weeks, that he's going to make them come back for a special session, which they don't want to do. They're like kids that just got out of school for summer. So the good news is the Senate has passed a bill for a $70,000 increase of the homestead exemption. So it would go up to $70,000. So even if this appraised value goes up, you still got this homestead exemption, which is fabulous. Then you have the cap on the city, school, and the city, the county, and the school. So taxes are going to go down again next year, I guarantee you. And one more cool, because of all of us California people coming in here, or whoever's coming and moving to Texas, we have a $33 billion surplus in the state budget. Do you know, I come from California. This to me is hilarious, because the state of California's been running in a deficit for I don't even know how long. They can't get their poop in a group to save their life. We have a $33 billion surplus. And you know what the governor wants to do, and what he's mandated them to do, and it's already passed the Senate, is to take that money and a portion of it go to what's called the maintenance and operations of the school district budget. So when the school district gets that money, what do? They have to lower the rate again. And the biggest tax component on your property taxes right now out of the city, the county, and the school is the school district. And because we voted in this bond for our new schools for Wichita City, not for the county, because I'm in the Burke School District, we got a little wonkiness. So that bond cost should go down some for next year. So overall, you should see a decrease in your taxes, not your appraisal, for next year when the bills come out in November. Now, I will say that one of the things that will happen when they pass this decision about the 70,000 homestead exemption, they're also in conjunction with that, it's passed the Senate, $100,000 for us old people. So I'm really excited about that. Like, woohoo, $100,000 for the seniors, an exemption. So now here's where the problem is. The House has a bill and the Senate has a bill. They're like fighting, brothers and sisters. And they're both led by Republicans, which I find even more fascinating, because when I heard it, I thought, well, maybe they're just different parties. But the one in the House is, their overarching philosophy is that they want to put a cap on the appraised assessment of 5%. But the thing is they want to put it across the board for all properties, including income properties, like hotels that bring in income. And so there is a lot of conversation, because they're really like this. It's the lieutenant governor who's in the Senate leading that bill with the homestead exemptions, etc. And it's, I'm going to forget his name. I think it's Saeed. But anyways, he's leading the charge about the 5% increase on the overall appraisal. The thing that I find interesting about that is that that doesn't really address even, so I showed you this example that we need more reform here with the rates themselves, not with the appraised value. Because at the end of the day, these will be in effect and stay in effect. And at some point, I'm not saying that I'm for one or the other. I just want the homestead exemption, to be honest with you. But the fact of the matter is that I want you to just call your legislators. So we have Springer is our House representative, and Frank's the House. Frank's the House, and Springer is Frank's the House and Springer's the senator. I get them confused. Just tell them, stop fighting and pass a law, because it doesn't matter which side you're on. I mean, one or the other is going to get passed, and this infighting is not getting us any closer to the tax reform, and they're going to have to come back for special session because the governor's not going to let it go. But the good news is that once they pass that, you will vote on it just like we did last time. It'll go on a general ballot to say, yes, we want the 70,000 homestead exemption, and or the 5% cap. So even when they pass it, you still get to vote on it, because all of this is constitutional. So just keep in mind that maybe if they don't get their poop in a group, if you will, then it's going to be pushed off until 2024, which I would prefer that it was on our 23 taxes. Last year, it was done in such a quick fashion that we voted on it and it went into effect in 2023. So everybody got the $40,000 homestead exemption last year. I think it would be absolutely remarkable if we all got a $70,000 this year, in conjunction with all of this other. I think, we really are going to be paying a lot less in taxes. And as I said, that's his mandate, is to make sure that we have massive tax reform. So, questions? You guys are writing notes like crazy. That's good. Yeah? So has everyone filed their homestead exemption? Okay. So you have the form in there. Go ahead.
I have a question about, which I'm sure I could find it, like a disability.
Yes, it's on there too.
So it's all combined, so I didn't know.
You mean on the exemption
like
form?
It went up to 40,000.
The exemption does.
The exemption.
Right.
Homestead exemption.
Right. And the disability,
only 10? Because I'm like, mine's only 50,000.
Ask that question again.
Like the disability. We've
Yeah.
already filed that and already have it.
Is it VA? Is it VA, or is it just a regular disability?
Just a regular disability.
Okay. So I know it's not a ton on that, because I haven't helped anybody with that. I've just reviewed it in the past. So I know it's not a ton on the disability. I think it is maybe 10%.
Maybe it is only 10.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's 10.
Okay.
So, I mean, anything that you can get off of here is going to be beneficial. The good news for veterans, although I don't know that that's good news because you have to be completely disabled in order to do it, but if you have 100% VA disability, you get 0 taxes. So that's always, does he have that?
100%, yes. 100% the same.
So you pay no property taxes. So, I don't. Oh my gosh.
No, it's just.
I don't hate that. That's not
It's a
even,
blessing.
that never comes into my mind. I think it's a blessing, but I also was saying that you have to go through a lot to have got to 100% disability. So I'm not saying that that's not well deserved. I'm veterans 100. I just.
But I still want to understand what goes on with, yeah.
Well, so what I would ask of all of you is we're small, but you can be mighty, is just talk to your friends. I'm going to share this on social media, on my YouTube channel, and let your friends watch the video. Because if you ever hear anybody moaning and groaning and complaining and grumble, grumble, grumble about any of this, then say, please, you don't even have to say, you don't need to get in an argument with them. Just say, go watch that video. Because at the end of the day, I believe that there is so much good happening that yes, we have a lot of things that we can grumble about, from the price of gas to, you know, as I said, in my industry, it's watching the Fed every day going, please stop doing what you're doing. You know, banks are falling apart because of that, and the breaking of the banking system. And, you know, there's a lot of things you can complain about. But I created a YouTube channel about Wichita Falls because all I do is gush about Wichita Falls. I think it's one of the most amazing places to live. We're in the top 5 of the lowest cost of living cities to live in America. We have, without question, the nicest people. We don't have any traffic. And so just a little bit of help from our actual state government with our property taxes, to me, is phenomenal. Because we could, like I said, you could live in the Metroplex in a brand new property, and none of this is going to help all your mud taxes and your utility taxes and the toll taxes, because they're not reducing any of that. This is only on these 3 entities that we're talking about. So I think it's just it's a fabulous thing, and I would love it if you would share as much as you can with other people, and have them just call their legislator and say, get off your behind and stop arguing. Because at the end of the day, that doesn't help us. And they know what their mandate is. Their mandate is to have massive reform. And so I think we're really headed in that direction. So, any more? Yeah.
We bought in April of last year. Would it be for our appraisals now? It's a little bit more than what we actually paid. Would it be worth it to? I mean, we have pupboard ceilings. Our cabinets are from 1959. Some stuff has been updated, but some stuff hasn't. The range is from 97, stuff like that.
It's a little, how much did it go up? Do you know? Like 20 grand?
So we went up about 34 grand.
So what I would say about that without looking, okay, because from January to about April or May of last year, property values went up literally 30%. And then starting around May of last year, that's when the Fed decided that they needed to get their hand in the pie. And that's when they started raising interest rates. And then the market started to cool. It hasn't gone like this at all. I mean, it's cooled, it's flattened. And so through like October, November, and December, prices did dip like so slightly that you probably wouldn't notice it, but it was just, there was complete fear in the public all across the country because they didn't know what was happening with the Fed and their rates. So there is a potential that you are getting assessed more by what happened last April as opposed to what your house was really worth January 1st. I would say that you're, based on just general topics and what you just shared with me, they probably overassessed you by at least 10 or 15,000, possibly 20. I'll look and let you know. I mean, I'm going to turn this video off here in a second, and I'll give you my number, and I'll just look. Because at the end of the day, it's about, I'm not a coupon person, but you know, if you're a person that's a good steward of your money, which I recommend that everyone is, then you pay attention to how you can eliminate cost, taxes. You know, we do it with our federal taxes. We do it when we shop. You know, some people live in states that are next to places that don't have sales tax, you know, so they'll go over to the next state. So it's always important to be a good steward with your money. And if that is just looking a little further into this and seeing if you can get it reduced a couple, 20,000 or 15,000, then I think mine, I only got reduced like 10 or 11 last year, but that still's a win to me.
And anything helps.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm all about it. You know, I mean, I'm not one of those people that I'm going to drive, you know, halfway across town to get the gas that's 3 cents less, because I put that equation into my brain. But at the end of the day, this is important, and it's a monthly cost. And if you can help at all with that, help yourself at all with that, then I'm happy to help you. Okay. Is that, you guys feel like you got some good information?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Just share with your friends. That's all I can say. It's just really, I figure if I'm on this one-woman mission to get people to see things in the positive light, to be more, to be happier about what's happening in their lives, that the world becomes a better place. And then we just, you know, we're all just happier. And we live in a world nowadays that this social media thing, I think that's just built to cause people to be mean, nasty, or whatever. And I just think that there's just a place for us to be kinder, gentler, sweeter, loving, more loving. So that's my one-woman mission. Hope you'll get behind me and go out there and tell your friends about, don't be angry about the tax appraisals. Call your legislator and tell them to get on the stick. That's right. Okay? All right. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. And then, oh, you're so